Hey guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be an advanced class today. It's a little fiery. There's some arm balances, options for inversions. We're not going to spend too long breaking down poses. It's not so much of an alignment class, a little bit more of, I don't really like using this term in a yoga thing, but like a fast, furious flow, if you like. So if you do need to take a little bit more time for yourself, please do. You can always stop, pause, take a breather, have some water. All you will need is a couple of blocks. I will say, if your blocks tend to be on the squishy side, you might also want to grab some books or something that's a little more sturdy for some stuff that we're going to do a little later on in class. All right, so we're going to begin in our supine chest opener. So you guys are really familiar with this by now. Set yourself up. We're not going to be here for all that long, so try to be efficient with your practice. And by that I mean, I never want you to feel rushed or hurried, but you know, we're coming into a pose. We're there for some breaths. So try not to fidget too much or, you know, kind of dilly-daddle around, I guess. Come straight into this position and let's go ahead and take an inhale through the nose and an open mouth exhale. And again, like that, inhale and exhale. Close your mouth, breathe in and out through your nose. And if this is feeling pretty good, stay here. If you're able to remove the block or lower it down a level from underneath the head, go for it. It's just gonna obviously take you into a bit of a deeper back bend. And if this is feeling good, stay here. If you would like to work a little bit more movement into the thoracic spine, draw your knees all the way together so that the feet are flat on the mat, and then interlace your hands back behind your head. So you'll take an inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to curl your torso up, almost like you were doing a little bit of a crunch, and then you're going to lower yourself over that block. Keep the elbows wide and then curl up. So you guys get the drift. Just continue to take these little movements. Maybe each time that you go over the block, you're able to take it back a little bit further. This is one of my favorite ways of getting into your upper back. And what I like about it is that, and I'm not even kidding you, that when we first came into the chest opener, my upper back felt kind of sticky. And even now, I can just feel it opening up. So it's not like it takes a lot of effort to do these. It doesn't take long before you start to feel a little bit more movement happening there. Let's just take two more. Bring your forearms to the floor. You'll remove that second block out from underneath you and come to lie all the way on your back. We're going to continue to work into the thoracic spine. So take your arms wide, knees stay together, but lift the feet. Squeeze your inner thighs together and press the lower back into the floor. You'll take your knees over to the left. Now they don't have to touch the floor here. Try to keep your right shoulder blade firmly planted down. Come back through center and change sides, both knees over to the right. We'll continue to move side to side. And obviously our core starts to kick in a little bit here, which is a nice little benefit, but I'm not so much focused on that right now. That's gonna come later. Don't worry, we're gonna get enough core work in today. And maybe you notice the more that you do these little dynamic twists, the easier it is to keep the shoulder blades down. Just one more each side. Come all the way back to center and place the feet down on the mat. And you can bring your arms down alongside you now. You'll cross your right leg up and over the left so that the knees are stacking. Right knee stacks on top of the left. You can curl yourself up and either hold onto your shins, interlace the hands behind your left thigh, or if you could grab your feet this early on in practice, feel free to do that. Lower the head back down, and then try to keep your hips down and your tailbone lengthening forwards. Starting to stretch into the outer hips. And you can play around a little bit here with pulling the knees closer in or maybe pressing them away from you. You can take the feet closer up towards your head, further away from you. So lots of different ways to play around with the stretch. And I really encourage you to take some time to find where it is that you need the stretch today. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Unravel the legs, take them up towards the ceiling, and just shake them out a couple of times. Get a little bit of movement there. And changing sides. So left knee comes on top of the right knee, or as best you can. You'll curl up, either hold behind the thighs, around the shins, maybe you're grabbing the feet, and then you're bringing your head back down, hips back down towards the floor. Maybe this side requires that you do it a little bit differently. But wherever you are, whatever shape this pose is taking, allow your breath to be soft. Soften the muscles around your face, your jaw, your cheeks. And even if you don't feel much of a stretch here, can you be okay with that? Not everything has to be extreme or deep or full of sensation. Again, unravel the legs, take them up towards the ceiling, shake them out. You could also scissor the legs, one in front of the other. If you're really craving a happy baby or maybe just a hug of the knees into the chest, feel free to do that as well. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of core work here to target the obliques. All of you are probably familiar with your yoga bicycles. So option 1, taking yoga bicycles slow and steady. Make sure you're rotating the torso more than just kind of like pulling the knee in. So that's option 1. I'm not gonna demo it. This is an advanced class. You should know how to do that. Option 2, if you wanna come with me, is lying on the back, knees are bent, press the lower back into the floor. You'll curl the head up, start to reach the arms out. Now you're gonna extend the legs out to find a hollow body position. Lightly place the hands down. And then you're gonna swivel the legs, keeping them all the way together, around to the left, pick up the hips, come onto the right hip, and take the legs forwards. Round the worlds, keep the legs together, they swing to the back, coming onto the left hip, take the legs forwards. And then we just continue to move through these. So working your inner thighs to squeeze the legs together. Obviously working the core. Very little pressure going down through your arms. And you know, if you need to support the back of your head, you can always use one of your hands. It just starts to get a little bit, see, like it starts to get a little bit hard with the coordination. So just think of lengthening the back of the neck. You're strengthening the muscles in your neck at the same time as doing your core. And try looking up more rather than forwards. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug the knees into your chest. Give them a nice big squeeze. You'll rock up and down the length of your spine. We're gonna come straight into a tabletop position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. From here, take your right fingers to your right temple so that your elbow is out wide. As you inhale, you're gonna open your chest to the right. You can allow the hips to move a little here. And then on an exhale, you're gonna draw your right elbow towards the left wrist. Inhale as you open. Exhale, close. Just one more. Inhale. And exhale. This time, inhale, reach up, reach the right arm up, stretch, and then thread the arm underneath you, bringing your right cheek down to the mat. Take the left arm forwards and pull the left hip back, stretching through the left side of the body. Feel free to stay here. If you want more, you can tuck the left toes, extend the leg back, and then maybe take it all the way out to the left. And you can grab a hold of that left foot or leg with your right hand. Finally, start to walk the left hand over towards the top right corner of the mat. So you're in a side bend, in a twist, in a forward fold, kind of hitting all the areas. You're gonna walk your left hand back underneath the shoulder, draw the left knee, shin back down to the mat, and then inhale, reach the right arm up, right hand to the floor. Left fingertips to your left temple. Inhale, open the chest to the left. And as you exhale, drop the left elbow towards the right wrist. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last one, inhale. And exhale. This time, reach the left arm up, big stretch. And then sweep the left arm underneath the right, left cheek coming to the mat. Take your right arm forwards as you pull the right hip back. stay here, or if you want to add in the right leg, you can extend it back, or maybe even take it all the way out to the side. Start to walk your right hand over towards the top left corner of the mat. So you're spinning your chest open towards the ceiling. Like you could get both shoulder blades onto the floor. Walk your right hand back underneath the shoulder. Bring the right knee, shin in. Inhale, reach the left arm up and stretch. Left hand comes back to the floor. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedal out through the feet, do whatever it is you need to do here. And work to lengthen your spine here in this first downward facing dog. Can you lengthen through the sides of your neck? Starting to drop into a rhythm of breath that feels good in your body. Walk your hands back to your feet. You'll keep your hands alongside the feet and then flip them so that the tops of the hands come onto the floor, stretching out through your forearms, your wrists. Maybe nod and shake your head a couple of times. Flutter out the lips if you need. Pick up the hands, circle out through the wrists. Maybe flick your fingers a couple of times. Hands back down, walk out, downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, shift forwards into high plank position. We're just going to hold and breathe this first high plank. So all the usual cues here in your high plank, working the strength of the arms, the shoulders, the core, hugging the outer hips in, so working your glutes as well, inner thighs pulling in. And then can you feel your sternum pulling forwards as the crown of the head extends forwards? You're lengthening the neck, and at the same time, you're driving the heels back. Take another full breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forwards into plank position. Find this line in your plank. Keep all of that work, but come down onto your forearms. So make sure you're not piking your hips or overly rounding the upper back. There is a sense of pressing the floor away from you, but at the same time, pull the chest forwards. So option is to stay here, or we're gonna add on some hip dips if you like. So you're gonna drop your left hip towards the floor. You pivot onto the outer edges of the feet. Come back through center, drop your hips to the right. And then we just continue to do that side to side. So again, try not to overly pike the hips as you come back through center. Try not to drop your head. Keep pulling the navel back towards the spine. We'll do one more on each side. Back to forearm plank. Lower the hips, sphinx pose. Pull the chest forwards. Your elbows are underneath the shoulders. Maybe open and close the mouth a few times or circle out the neck. We're almost at the end of this warm up. So is there anything else that you need to be adding in here? Feel free to do that. You're going to come all the way down onto your belly. Take your arms out wide, palms down. So your head stays off the floor here, but you can change the direction of your gaze, right? So you're going to bend the left knee. You're going to roll over the right hip, tap the left toes back behind you, but we're not going to stay. You'll come back through center. Bend the right knee. Roll over the left hip, tap the toes back behind you. And we just continue to do that side to side. So you'll see that I'm turning my head as I go. So this is a really nice way of releasing the lower back. Again, still adding in a little bit of twisting. Might even be that you feel some extra space appear in the lower back. Maybe you hear a little pop or crack. Do one more each side. Come back through center. Feet together, knees wide, child's pose. Pull your hips back towards your heels. Reach your arms forwards. Lift your elbows, your forearms away from the mat. And as you try to pull the hands further forwards or reach further forwards, imagine you're squeezing the hands back towards your hips at the same time. So you're lengthening through the left and right side of your body. Downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Walk your feet all the way to the top of the mat. Feet and hips width distance apart. Final little piece of our warm up here. You can interlace the hands behind you, stretching out through the front of your shoulders, your chest. In a moment, we're going to begin to flow, so let this be soft. If you're interlacing your fingers, change the grip. Other thumb on top. Feel the inner thighs pull in and wrap back. Release your arms. Bending into the knees, pull the navel back towards the spine. Begin to roll all the way up to standing, and at the top, roll your shoulders back and down. And gather your hands into prayer. Allow the eyes to close. Perhaps setting an intention for your practice here today. Inhale deeply. Open mouth, exhale. Release your arms. Allow your eyes to flutter open. 5 rounds, Surya Namaskar A, pretty traditional as we move through these. Inhale, reach the arms up, big stretch, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale as you lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. First round, step back, plank pose. Inhale, maybe you're shifting forwards. Exhale, lower chaturanga to your belly. Inhale, cobra, roll the shoulders back and down, peel the chest up, strong legs, strong lower body, and release, downward facing dog. So we're going to move through, a good number of these just to build some heat, to get connected to the breath. Feel free to add in inversions as you transition. Feel free to skip some of these out if you need. What is the purpose of your practice here today, and are you honoring that? Keep coming back to that as we begin to move. Look forwards, step or jump your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Take it back, downward facing dog, and breathe. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Again, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Through your back bend. Downward facing dog, breathe. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Through your back bend. Downward facing dog. Bend the knees, inhale, look forwards, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step or float vinyasa. Downward facing dog. We're going to hold here. Lift your right leg, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Maybe circle out that leg a couple of times. If you're doing that, try to keep your torso square towards the mat. Take the circles back in the opposite direction. Take another full breath in. As you exhale, knee to nose, shift forward, straighten the arms. Inhale, extend the leg up and back. Right knee, right upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Right knee, left upper arm, pause here. You're gonna step your right foot behind the left wrist. Now, if that seems really challenging, place blocks underneath your hands, and then we're gonna straighten through both legs. So you're basically in a cross-legged pyramid pose. Inhale, lengthen the chest. Exhale, fold, hold and breathe. Now try to press down through the big toe mound of the right foot. Stretching into your outer right hip. Can you pull your sternum towards your right ankle? Lift the chest up halfway. You'll step your left foot to the outside of the right at the top of the mat and fold. So your feet will be a little bit over towards the left. That's totally fine. You can bend the knees as much as you need. Try to pull the feet away from one another. Press down into your feet. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up, right fingers around the left wrist. Inhale to lengthen, side bend to the right. Scoop your right underarm forwards. And if it feels better on the neck to look down towards the right, go for it. Inhale, lift all the way back up, release your arms, unwind your legs, Tadasana. Into chair pose, Utkatasana, sit low. You're gonna lift up onto the balls of your feet. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. So even if your feet are a little wider and the inner thighs aren't actually touching, that's fine. Still feel that action of the adductors working. Lift the chest a little higher. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or float, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hips, circle it out a couple of times. Try to lift your right forearm, your right underarm up from the mat. Take those circles back in the opposite direction. Take another full breath in. Exhale, knee to nose, shift forwards. Inhale, extend. Left knee, left upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Left knee, right upper arm. Pause here. Step the left foot behind the right wrist. Maybe come up onto fingertips or use blocks. Inhale as you lengthen the chest. Exhale, fold. So you want to be conscious that you're not overly rolling to the pinky toe edge side of the front foot. So keep pressing down through the left big toe. Careful to not hyperextend through that front leg as well. So many things to think about. Inhale, lift up halfway. You're going to step the right foot to the outside of the left and fold at the top of the mat. Really let your head go here. Try to pull the feet away from one another. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Left fingers around right wrist. Inhale as you lengthen, side bend to the left. Scoop the left underarm forwards. Inhale, lift back up, release the arms, unwind the legs, Tadasana. Chair pose, sit low. Lifting up onto the balls of the feet. Might be a little bit wobbly, so try to settle your drishti, your gaze. Lift the chest a little higher, full breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step or float, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. So in a moment, we're going to move through that little sequence on the breath. Take an inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Lift the right leg. Exhale, knee to nose, pull it in, shift forwards. Inhale, extend. Right knee, right upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Right knee, left upper arm, step right foot behind the left wrist. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Stay for an inhale. Stay for an exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Step the left foot to the outside of the right and fold. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise to stand. Reach up, right fingers around the left wrist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, lift back up. Release your arms, unwind the legs, Tadasana. Chair pose, sit low, reach the arms up. Lift up onto the balls of the feet. Full breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Left knee, left upper arm. Inhale, extend. Left knee, right upper arm. Step left foot behind the right hand. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Stay for an inhale. Stay for an exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. Step right foot behind the left. Fold at the top of the mat. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise up. Left fingers around the right wrist. Inhale, lengthen. Side bend to the left. Inhale, come back through center. Release the arms. Unwind the legs. Tadasana. Chair pose. Lift up onto the balls of the feet. Full breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step or float vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Shift into plank position. Coming down onto your forearms. Lower the hips all the way down, Sphinx pose. Turn your right forearm in and then roll onto your right hip. So my right knee, my bottom knee is bent a little bit. My left hand is on top of my right wrist. Now, what the tendency is here is to do this, like to collapse into the shoulder. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep pressing the floor away from us. You're going to extend the top leg, that's the left leg. And then I want you to wrap your torso towards the floor. So you're not opening up, you're not back bending, but you're pulling the belly in. From here, we're going to lift the right hip off the floor, lower it back down, tap, and lift. For 10, 9, 8, 7, you'll feel it in the glutes, 6, 5, 4, 3, oh, it's hurting, 2, and 1. Good. Changing sides, so rolling onto the left side. Oh, yeah, this left side is hard for me. Glute med, right? Tends to be weak for a lot of us. So it's nice to do this work, and by nice I mean necessary. So you want to keep driving the forearm down, lifting out of the shoulder. Left knee is bent, right leg is straight. Make sure you don't open towards the ceiling. You want to close off towards the floor. So you're going to press down through the arm, lift the hip up. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, it'll all be worth it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ugh. Come all the way down and then take a child's pose. Feet together, knees wide, press back. I'm just going to towel off briefly. So trust me, I'm not just making you do those for the sake of it. It is going to come into play with where we're going. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, knee to nose, pull it forward, straighten the arms. Inhale, extend. Right knee, right upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Right knee, left upper arm, and then extend the leg out to the left, fallen triangle, reach the left arm up. Press the floor away from you. That same glute med that we just used, you're going to use that to lift the hips up, and then maybe even reach the left arm forwards. We're going to come back into three-legged dog. Left hand down, reach the right leg up. Into crescent lunge. If you want to take a handstand, hop the left foot in a little bit. Take a couple of little handstand hops to transition. So you want to make sure the arms are straight and strong. If you're handstanding, it'll be the right foot forwards. Crescent lunge. Come on up. Oh, a little bit of a wobble there. And then today, once you've set your hips and pelvis and you're kind of happy with where they are, I want you to straighten through that back leg so you're really stretching through the left side of the hip. And then you're going to drop the right arm and side bend to the right. If you like, you can bend the top elbow, cup the head into the hand. Press into the feet. Inhale, reach both arms up. I'm going to open up a warrior two. Nice long stance in your warrior two. Shoulders stacking on top of the hips. Close your eyes. 5 breaths. Straighten through the front leg. Inhale, reach forwards, Trikonasana. Right hand down, reach the left arm up. Take a moment to adjust the legs, the hips as you need. Finding some length from your right hip to your right underarm. And then if you wish to add on, reach the left arm forwards and reach from your left fingers to the outer edge of the left foot. Stay here or reach the right arm forwards as well. You want to make sure that the chest isn't rotating towards the floor, but that you're scooping those right ribs towards the left. Breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back up, a warrior two. Extended side angle, right forearm to thigh, or you can go hand to the inside today if you're bringing the hand to the floor. Take a half bind, draping the left arm behind you. You can reach into the inner right thigh. And so that bind is there to assist you in opening the shoulder, in rotating the torso to the left. Is there anywhere you can soften? That was kind of a reminder to me with my front toes. A warrior two, strong legs, come back up. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Lift the left leg. Knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Left knee, left upper arm, squeeze it high. Inhale, extend. Left knee, right upper arm. Kick the leg out to the right, fallen triangle, reach the right arm up. Press the floor away from you. I'm going to reach the right arm forwards. Powerful feet here. Last full breath in. Exhale, right hand down, 3-legged dog, left leg up and back. Straight into crescent lunge or step the right foot in a little bit. Take some handstand hops if you like. We'll meet in crescent lunge. Left leg forwards, right leg back. So you want to make sure the feet are about hips width distance apart so you can draw the left hip back, right hip forwards, and then drive that right heel back to start to stretch into the right hip flexor. You'll drop the left arm down alongside you, side bend over to the right. Just being really mindful that the front knee doesn't roll in as you do this side bend. And maybe you bend the right elbow and just take your head into your hand. Strong legs, strong feet. Inhale, reach back up. We're going to open out a warrior two. Nice, strong warrior two. Just a simple hold here. Simple but not easy. 5 breaths. Straighten through the front leg. Inhale, reach forward, Trikonasana. Left hand down, reach the right arm up. So as you draw the left hip back, this right hip, top hip rolling forwards. Strong legs. Make space from the left hip to the left underarm. And then lengthen your tailbone towards the right heel. Reach the right arm forwards. Reach from your fingers to the outer edge of the right foot. Stay here or reach the left arm forwards as well. Strong feet, inhale, come all the way back up. Rebend the front knee. Extended side angle, left forearm to thigh or hand to the inside, reach the right arm up. So with the hand to the inside, you're hugging the knee into your arm and pressing the arm back into your knee. From here, maybe adding in your half bind, rolling the right shoulder back, making sure that you then don't swing the hip out, right? So that left hip is still, the left sitting bone is pulling towards the right heel. Strong legs, warrior two. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Wriggle your left foot back as far as you can and then lower the left thigh down towards the mat. So I'm squeezing my right knee to my right upper arm. I'm pressing my arm back out into the knee. So option is to stay here, totally cool. If you want, start to take your right shoulder underneath the right knee. Now, the reason I started with this back knee down is because I really want you to let this get a little bit ugly, right? So you've got the balance, you don't have to worry about keeping the knee elevated. And I want you to really try and get that shoulder as deeply as you can underneath the leg. Once you've got it there, then maybe you lift the back knee. You could either take the arms out to the sides, aeroplane them, or if you want, you can take a bind. So the balance will start to get a little more challenging when the arms are lifted. So you need to find this balance between push and pull, of hugging in and expanding. If you're in the bind, release your hands. You're gonna unravel the shoulder. Keep your right foot wide so it's near the right thumb. And then you're gonna straighten through both legs, curl the right toes back towards the right shin. So again, the legs are probably a little wider than they might normally be in a pyramid pose. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Wriggle the right foot back as far as you can and then lower that right foot down. So don't be in such a hurry to come into the pose that you kind of miss some of the depth of it. So I'm going to try to wriggle this left shoulder underneath the knee. Now what I like to do here, as you might have already seen, is I kind of like pull the hips back, I swing them out to the side. I'm even getting my left thumb and kind of pressing it into my calf muscle. I have pretty dense calf muscles, and so it can get in the way. So I use that thumb to kind of wriggle it around until I can find a position in which I can hold. And then maybe I'm just here. Maybe you're lifting the back knee, reaching the arms out. Maybe you're binding the arms behind you. Keep hugging the left hip back towards the right foot. I'm going to bring the hands back to the floor, bringing the shoulder back out from underneath. My left hand is next to the left foot, and then I'm straightening through both legs, pulling the hips back. So being careful not to hyperextend that front leg. Downward facing dog. Let's move through our vinyasa to clear that out. Inhale, shift forwards, plank pose. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale through your back bend. Downward facing dog. Shift into plank pose. Hover your right leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Back into the plank position. Right knee, right upper arm. Back into your plank, right knee, left underarm. Fall in triangle or keep the right leg hovering the whole time as you reach the left arm up. So using your inner right thigh to lift that leg towards the ceiling. Keep pressing the floor away from you. Full breath in. Exhale, left hand down, three-legged dog. Going into our crescent lunge. If you want the inversion, hop the left foot in. Shoulders stack over the wrists. Take a couple of little handstand hops to come on up. And right foot forwards, left foot back, crescent lunge. I'm gonna find hands in prayer. Take the elbows wide, twist to the right, and then hook the left elbow over the right thigh. Now really work the twist here. Roll the right shoulder back and down. Think like you're almost doing cobra in your upper back. Inhale, reach the arms up. Open up, a warrior two. Straighten through the front leg. Lift this right hip. Flip the front palm. Inhale, reach up and back. Reverse triangle pose. Stay here or reach the left arm back as well. So you're pressing down through the right big toe as you reach through the right fingers. Feel the feet pull in towards one another. Keep this shape in the upper body, just rebend the right knee. Extended side angle, either half or full bind. So if you're going for the full bind, once you've got it, look down, step the left foot to the top of the mat, bird of paradise, weight into the left foot. Take your time to come on up, finding the balance. Maybe extending the right leg. Hug your outer left hip in. So it's that glute med that we did that little drill with, that little forearm drill with. Squeeze it in. Bird of paradise, coming all the way back down. We're gonna meet in our side angle pose. Everyone, warrior two. Straighten through the front leg. Turn the right toes in, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. So a couple of options here. You could hang out in your forward fold, particularly if you feel like your hamstrings need a little bit more love. You could twist in your fold. Or if you want to come upside down, you've got tripod headstand. Shirshasana 1, forearms down. Some of you may be coming up into forearm stand or handstand. So just enjoy a moment to play around here. We're gonna meet back in our wide-legged forward fold. Lift the chest up halfway. Walk your hands to your right foot, spin all 10 toes to the front. So option is to come into lizard pose again here. Maybe you were enjoying that work that we were doing. Maybe you're going to attempt the bind. If you want to come into the arm balance, Ekapada Kundinyasana, I encourage you to place the back knee down first and really work on getting your right leg over the right shoulder pretty deeply, right? So spend a bit of time doing that, and then the hands will come down, and maybe you start to extend that right leg out, finding Ekapada Kundinyasana 2. This is flying splits, so think of Hanuman. If you're in the arm balance, you can take it back. Chaturanga. We'll all eventually meet in downward facing dog. Shift forwards into plank position. Lift the left leg, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Left knee, left upper arm. Inhale, extend. Left knee to right upper arm, or maybe you float it all the way through into fallen triangle. So using the left inner thigh to keep the leg lifted. Full breath in. Exhale, three-legged dog, lift the left leg up and back. High lunge, maybe hop the right foot in a little, and then transition through your handstand. High lunge, left foot forwards, right foot back. Come on up. Hands to prayer, elbows wide. Twist to the left, hook right elbow over the left thigh. Press into the feet, inhale, reach up. Open up, warrior 2. Straighten through the front leg, lift this left hip point, reach up and back, reverse Trikonasana. Stay here, or reach the right arm back as well. Can you lengthen through the sides of your waist? Keep this shape in the upper body, rebend the left knee. Extended side angle, either half or full bind. If you're working the full bind, look down and forwards, step the right foot to the top of the mat. Coming up into your balance, bird of paradise. Hug the outer right hip in as you come up. Rebend the top knee. We're going to meet back in extended side angle pose. Warrior 2. Straighten through the front leg. Turn the left toes in. Hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Again, yogi's choice. Playtime here. You've got any inversion. Maybe you're stretching the hamstrings. Maybe you're going to add in a stretch for the chest and shoulders, interlacing the hands behind you. If you're upside down, making your way back down into our straddle fold. Lift the chest halfway. Walk your hands to your left foot, spin all 10 toes forwards. So again, we've got our little lizard work here, or maybe you're gonna try the arm balance, Eka Pada Kundinyasana 2. Lower that back knee down if you're doing it. Really wedge the shoulder underneath the leg. See how far you can go. And then from here, think Hanuman. Remember, it's flying splits. Reach through the left foot, reach through the right foot. Try not to drop your head. Maybe you take it back through your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Lower your knees and shins down to the mat. So you're gonna grab those blocks or even books if you have them. I'm gonna do everyone's favorite, a little bit of L-sit work. So the peak pose that we're working towards today is Astavakrasana, 8-angle pose. So everything that we've been doing up until this point is really leading us to that peak pose. It's an arm balance, it's a twist, it's a side bend. There's a lot going on. Obviously a lot of core, the whole thing. So with these L-sits, because I'm also going to give you an option to transition from Astavakrasana to Eka Pada Kundinyasana. So working with the blocks in the L-sits is great because it's starting to prep your forearms and hands for working with the blocks, and it will help if you then want to do the transition like that. Okay, so blocks are on the lowest height. They're next to about my mid-thigh, but this is really going to have to be up to you. Play around with it. If something doesn't feel right, move them back, move them forwards. Hands come down. For this first round, we're going to keep the heels down. They will pull back as the hips pull back, but we're going to keep them down, okay? So hands down, pull up through the belly, take an inhale. Exhale, pull the hips back, straighten the arms. Slide the heels forwards and lower down. In between each round, if you kind of need to circle out the wrists or anything like that, then go for it. All right, so we're going to do that one more time. We're going to slide the heels back. Option will be to then take right heel over the left. Now the left can stay on the floor, or you're going to squeeze the inner ankles together so hard that maybe both heels come off, but they're going to be crossed, right? And then we'll come down and do the other way. So start with them uncrossed, hands down, navel pulls back, inhale. Exhale, slide the heels back, right ankle over left, squeeze them together, maybe get a little bit of air time, and lower down. If you feel like you're cramping into your quads, massage them out. Alrighties, I'm gonna go to the other side. Inhale. Exhale, pull up. Left ankle over right, squeeze them together. Maybe you're able to lift them both up. And release. So what I like about Astavakrasana is the depth of the pose will depend a lot on your hip flexibility, on how high you can get the right leg over the shoulder, right? Or the lifted leg over the shoulder. But because the ankles end up being crossed in Astavakrasana, I like it because there's this sense of pulling everything in. And I don't know, maybe you felt it in that L stand, or L sit. When you cross the ankles, something happens with the inner thighs and the deep core where it feels like it's all pulling in and together. And that's what gives you a bit of lift off. So as opposed to something like Eka Pada Kundinyasana, which we were just doing, which is like everything is really spread out and there's like a lot of error because if one leg is floppy, then the other leg is going to get floppy. When everything's kind of pulling in more, at least I find, and what I see in students, is that's where there's a little bit more success. So don't think, oh, I can't do this pose because my hips aren't open. You might find that, sure, maybe your leg won't be as high, but you might still be able to get lift off from the ankles being crossed. Okay, so you're gonna keep the left leg extended, bend the right knee. I'm sure you guys have done this before. We're just gonna cradle the right shin in, try to lift the chest. The other thing about Astavakrasana is there's lots of bus stops along the way, right? So lots of little poses that we can do along the way. So if the end pose is not available for you today, doesn't mean that you have to completely miss out, right? Now you can take right hand around the outer edge of the right foot, take your left hand to the floor, and just carefully, we're not being aggressive here, we're just kind of pumping that hip back. Okay, so the first progression will be to come into Astavakrasana, which is basically an L-sit, what we just did, but with one leg over the shoulder. So in this case, it's going to be right leg. So I'm going to take my right arm underneath my right leg. Now let this be messy, just like we did in lizard. So I'm going to really spend a little bit of time getting in there. Again, my thumb is in my calf muscle. I'm trying to get the leg up high. From here, hands on blocks if you're using them. Now you press down through the blocks. Maybe the left heel stays down as you pull the hips back. Maybe you lift it up. And lower down. Change sides. Cradle the baby. Try to lift the chest. And it's funny how poses go through moments of popularity. Astavakrasana I used to see all the time, and then all of a sudden I never really see it that much anymore. Like things come in and out of vogue. But you know, it's a fun, challenging arm balance. There's nice transitions to work through with Astavakrasana, which means that like if you've got the pose and you want to add on, you can do that. You can handstand into it. So lots of fun little things to play around with. All right, so Astavakrasana, left arm underneath left leg. Let it be messy. Because the higher up you can get that leg, the easier it will be once you're in the pose, okay? Now I'm squeezing that leg down into my shoulder. My shoulder's pressing back into the leg. I've got my blocks. Same thing as the L-sit. I'm gonna pull the hips back, pull that right heel back, maybe then hover. And release down. Shake out the wrists a couple of times. So to add on for Astavakrasana, we're going to do that same work. Once we're in Astavakrasana, the left ankle, if the right leg's over us, the left ankle is going to cross over, and then the legs are going out to the right, which is what makes it kind of the twist and the side bend. What tends to happen, and these are the things that I notice, is the bottom hip, so in this case it's going to be the left hip, will fall to the floor. You've got to use that glute med, that work that we've been doing, to kind of hug it up away from the mat. Same thing, you don't want your chest falling so far that the legs kind of go up and it's all over, right? So there's always a sense in our poses of this equal balance between strength, between, you know, expansion and pulling in, right? Okay, so we're going to set up Astavakrasana with the option to go into Kundinyasana. So right leg is going to come up and over the shoulder. We're going to find Astavakrasana. If you're adding on, left ankle over the right, squeeze them together and then shoot the legs out to the right. So I'm lifting the left hip away from the floor, pulling the chest forwards, and then I'm going to squeeze the right leg to the right outer arm as I take the left leg back. Kundinyasana. You can thread the left leg back through and lower down. So that's your first time attempting it. It's probably a little messy. That's fine. It's supposed to be, right? You can also, from Kundinyasana, take it back through Chaturanga, any number of things. So you might see in pictures in the arm balance, the hip goes down and the legs go up. And it's not that that's wrong. It's just, it's very hard to transition out of that. If you want to like thread the legs back through, it's going to be hard to do that if you're allowing that bottom hip to sag. So it's not that a pose is ever really right or wrong. It's just depending on where you're going with it and what your intention is. So our intention is to one day work that transition. So we want to keep that bottom hip lifted. All right, left leg up and over. Last little bit, guys. Hands on blocks. Eka Hasta Bhujasana. Right ankle over left. Squeeze them together and then take them out to the left. Astavakrasana. Keep squeezing your left inner thigh to your left arm as you take the leg back. See if you can come back through. Oh, it's a little harder on this side. Astavakrasana. And release. Ay, ay, ay. So, guys, that's a lot. It's a lot on the wrists, it's a lot on the shoulders, a lot on the core. To undo all of that, we're gonna come back to where we began. Supine chest opener. Given that you're probably a lot warmer now, you might not need the block underneath your head. You know what, if you're still playing, go for it. Do that as much as you want. Otherwise, make your way into your chest opener. I'm going to encourage you to take the arms up overhead. You can hold opposite elbows or just hold your hands overhead like I'm doing here. And what we're trying to do is just open the chest. Now wrists and forearms also did a lot of work for us, which is why I've chosen this version of the back bend. You don't always need to be pushing or doing the extreme of every pose in every practice. And as you take some deep breaths here, try to let go of anything that did or didn't happen. It's just a practice. Remind yourself of what brought you to the mat. And perhaps choose one little thing that you might have learned throughout the sequence today that you can carry with you. It might be a cue that you really felt land in your body. Maybe you were just able to understand something that you previously didn't. Whatever it might be, it could be big, it could be small, it can be physical, it can be mental. And then hold on to that little thing. Be proud of yourself and all that you've done. If this is feeling really delicious and good, feel free to stay right here. If you would like to lift up and come into an active back bend, you've got bridge or wheel. Again, it's an advanced practice. You guys know what those poses are. Please be smart. Another nice option here would be to take a supported bridge, sliding 1 or 2 blocks underneath the hips. From here, you could extend the legs out in front of you, stretch into the hip flexors. They did a lot of work for you. If you're taking this variation, let the feet get super floppy. And it's funny that, you know, even within yoga where we're supposed to be pretty fluid and not be attached to things, we can really easily get attached to how we think classes should finish or how we think things need to end. And that's not to say it's bad. If you really know that you need some different movement before you come into your Shavasana, then that's totally cool. You can do whatever it is you need to do here. But can you also be open to the fact that you might be attached a little bit to the habit, to the ritual? I always spend a lot of time sequencing my classes to really give you a well-rounded enough practice, a safe and intelligent practice. So if you're in an active back bend, maybe coming down now and joining us in this supported back bend, you could either then take the legs straight up, or if you'd prefer to take the legs up the wall, go for it. If you have time in your day to spend a little longer here, feel free to do so. Otherwise, moving into whatever shape your your Shavasana is going to take. Could be a seated pose, could be a traditional Shavasana. Choose somewhere where you can rest deeply and fully. Otherwise, this is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Namaste.